following is a special Wayne Hills television sports presentation.
The 6-0 Wayne Hills Patriots top off Phase 1 of their regular season schedule with one last test as they return home to face the Knights of Bergen Tech. The Knights have yet to come within 27 points of a win and have been outscored 226-20 in 2010. Can the Knights step up their game, or will we see Justin Beveridge by the third quarter? Wayne Hills, Bergen Tech. It's senior night. Hello and welcome to Patriot Stadium for today's high school football matchup between your Wayne Hills Patriots and the Bergen Tech Knights. I am John Vittas here with Anthony Scudillo and Joe Rapp. So guys, combined these teams are 6-6, but when you split them apart, not so even. Wayne Hills 6-0, Bergen Tech 0-6. They've yet to come within 27 points of an opponent. So that's really all you need to know for tonight's game. So it's supposed to be a steamroll, but it's a good preparation going into the two biggest games of the season, and then, of course, after that is the playoffs. So what do you want to see specifically from Wayne Hills tonight, and what do they need to work on?
Well, John, you're going to see the first-team offense basically in there for the first quarter, and that's it, and the same with the defense. I'm going to look for the offensive line to make sure they seal all their gaps, and I'll look for the defensive line to really shoot the gaps, make sure they get all their moves in correctly. I'm going to look for Peter Davies to maybe have 2 sacks in only the first quarter.
Well, Anthony, I disagree with you there. I think Coach Olsen wants to get his son as much reps as possible preparing for these next 2 games. I mean, we really shouldn't expect mistakes from the sophomore Kevin Olsen. By this point in the season, he's really got to be crisp and make those passes good for if they want to win, because he's got to start throwing the ball in big games like this in the next 2 weeks.
Well, guys, tonight is all about ironing the kinks going into the big games this season. Kevin Olsen, like Joe said, sophomore quarterback, he's done well so far this year. His completion percentage is over 50%, which is really all you want to ask for from a sophomore quarterback. But, Anthony, how much do you expect to see Wayne Hills throw the ball, if at all, tonight, because it's cold out here?
Well, John, I don't see them throwing it that much, but I'm going to see the passes that they make, they better complete them, because there's not going to be that many of them. I see Kevin maybe having over 100 yards even in the limited time he's going to get, but I think they're going to run the ball most of the time, maybe do some play-action pass, which is my favorite thing, Joe.
Oh, no doubt.
I see them going over the top a few times tonight.
I think they're going to run the ball like they usually do. James Hogan, Brian Down, they've done it all season long. Why would they change it?
Yeah, I got to agree. I think they're just going to run the ball right down Bergen Tech's throats. I don't see Bergen Tech stopping that at all. Wayne Hills is going to run the clock the whole game. I mean, this one could be over in about 45 minutes. That's going to be real quick. So looking forward to seeing what Wayne Hills can iron out tonight. See, really, we're expecting perfection tonight, and that's what it's all about. So I got a chance to catch up with Wayne Hills running back Brian Dowling. Let's see this week's edition of Breaking Tackles. Welcome to the latest edition of Breaking Tackles with Brian Dowling. I'm John Vittas here with Wayne Hills running back Brian Dowling. So, Brian, 2 nice wins the last 2 weeks against Paramus and Ridgewood. 2 formidable teams, not anyone that was a real threat to beat you guys, but Paramus gave you a really tough game, and Ridgewood, you guys, they kind of hung in there for a little bit. What did you learn from your team the last 2 weeks going into the big games the rest of the way?
We kind of learned that, games aren't going to be easy. Games aren't going to be a blowout. Paramus, the score wasn't really what the game was like. It was, basically a one-score game until the fourth quarter. So, we realized, kind of like a bend, don't break formula. Things are going to happen, but you got to bounce back. I think we did that well, and, this week we got another game, and then, of course, the 2 next ones are pretty tough after that. So it just helped us in the long run.
Now, this week we're playing Bergen Tech. It's senior night. Obviously not the kind of team that's going to threaten you guys at all. They haven't won a game. They've been blown out in every one of their matchups this year. It's kind of a nice warm-up going into the Ramapo and St. Joe's games. What are you guys looking to work on this week to help prepare you for the next 2 weeks?
Yeah, well, I think the keys to this week is, the fundamentals, not making mental mistakes, physical mistakes, being perfect, and, not really worrying about the team that we're playing, but more worrying about ourselves and, getting better on every snap and preparing for, like I said, the 2 next big games. And, we're really going on a 5-game stretch if we want to win it all of tough competitors. So it all starts here with the fundamentals, being perfect and moving on from there.
Now, the defense this year has been fantastic in every single game. They have barely given up any points. Going into those big games, like you mentioned, playing offense primarily like you do, you play defense too, but being the running back, how much of a luxury is it as the offense to know you only need to score a couple touchdowns each game and your defense will hold it tight?
It's great. I mean, our defense has played real well. Started with, Russell and Nick are the kind of the captains of our defense, I would say. And week in, week out, we prepare the same. And, we work hard at it. And, we do something on defense every day. We're working to get better every day. So, I think it's a mindset that, you got to score a few times and, then you got to play solid defense. And then, of course, towards the third or fourth quarter, any one of us, me, James, Dom Santoro, the receivers, we're all got a chance to break one on any given play. So, it helps to have a great defense.
Now, tonight is senior night at Wayne Hills. We'll have the ceremonies in a little bit. How much does that mean to you guys playing here for 4 years, putting all your heart and effort into 4 years of lifting, 9 months a year working out with the team, or maybe even more than that, 10 to 11 months a year? How nice is it to get recognized, and how important is senior night to you guys?
It's really important to our program and our seniors, and it's really incredible if you think about it. We look back and we remember our first days in the weight room. Everyone says it goes fast, and you don't believe it until you're here. Then you realize, wow, it's only been a certain amount of games, but senior night's special, and it's a time to remember, the good times with some of your best friends, because a lot of these guys you'll never be playing again with.
Yeah, it's been a quick 4 years, I have to say. I still remember Anthony Jordan kicking that game-winning field goal against Ramapo freshman year. So it's been a long ride. You guys are almost there, but of course some big tests left to go. So we'll be back with the senior night ceremonies after this. As there's your boy Peter Davies finally making a play. As it looks like Jason Abedizian, the big boy running down the field. He's at the 40, the 30. Defenders are trying to get up to him. He's at the 10, the 5, and then Jason Abedizian, who had talked to us before the game, said he was going to have a big play. And look at the big boy rumble into the end zone.
Let us begin the introduction of our senior cheerleaders. Catherine Cedro.
You want to raise it
and
up a little
her
bit? Maybe you get a
mom,
better shot if you raise it.
Imelda.
You get a good look at
Michelle Donto and her mom Karen, brothers Everett, Anthony, and Matthew. Chloe Denise, her mom Linda, Dad Gene, and brother Matt. Mariella Rocamato, her mom Patty, her dad Mario, and brother Vincent.
Yeah.
Daniela Roma, her mom Patricia, her dad Daniel, brothers Wally and Augie, and sister Melissa.
Zoom out a little bit.
Jackie Zisman,
Oh, they're stopping right
her
behind me,
mom
literally.
Helene, her dad Dennis, and brother Matt.
Is everything all right? In what way?
And now for our senior players. Number 2, Nick Massey, his mom Debbie, and dad Chris. Number 3, James Hogan. His mom Lucy, dad Jim, and brother Justin. Number 5, Eugene Lowe. Mom Nancy, dad Gene.
Is this okay, Bert?
Number 7, Russ Pekarsky. Mom Karen, dad Larry, and sisters Sarah and Jennifer. Number 9, Brian Dowling. Mom Lori,
What else
dad
are you going to do to
Chris,
fix this shot?
and Grandpa Bob. Number 15, Anthony Jordan, and his mom Jennifer. Number 28, Michael Drees, mom Giselle, dad Michael, brother Ronnie, and sister Nicolette. Number 32, Jimmy Kenny, his mom Sandy, dad Jim, and brothers Anthony and Joey. Number 40, Peter Davies, mom Rima, dad Amir, brother Joseph, sisters Christina and Natasha. Number 52, Sam Schultz, and his mom Jill. Number 58, Ricky Clee, his mom Tony, and dad Fred. Number 69, Stephen Ipkoff, his mom Mirjana, his dad Zlatko, and sisters Stephanie and Jessica. Number 73, Matt Benzenhopper, his mom Dennis, Denise, and dad Paul. Number 76, Jake Shunke, his mom Cindy, dad Jack, and brother Matt. Number 78, Phil DiMichele, his mom Sandra, and dad Kenneth. And number 79, Casey Cardux, his mom Joyce, dad Ken, and brother Ryan. And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, welcome to Patriot Stadium here on the campus of Wayne Hills High School for tonight's Big North Conference football game between the home team Patriots of Wayne Hills and the visiting Knights of Bergen Tech High
Guy, are you
School.
off me? Burke, are you off me?
The officials in
Well, we hope you enjoyed the senior night ceremonies as these players recognized for 4 years of dedication to this program, 11 months a year, of course 6 days a week, sometimes 7 during the season. They've been through so much together and their families deserve to be commended for all the rides they gave their sons over the years and support they've given the program. So it's nice that Wayne Hills does this every year. kind of spice up a game like this, because if it wasn't for senior night, there might be nobody on both bleachers, let alone just the Bergen Tech side. As there's a grand total of one fan.
One lonely fan, John, but
He just showed up.
Yeah. Kudos to the players that stick it out with the 4 years. Don't necessarily start, but do this to be part of the team, and go in and day out of practice, and
There he is.
As you see the one lonely fan. Oh wait, there's another one joining him.
Oh, here he comes.
2 lonely fans. It is doubled in the last few seconds.
Oh, that might be a she.
But again, kudos to those who come out every day, battle for the positions, and just want to be part of the team and play hard.
I mean, there's a lot of players that you might not even know are on the squad if you're just a casual fan. Kids that have put just as much effort as any of the starters into this program. Maybe they're just not as physically gifted, and it's no fault of their own. So there's a lot. It's not just the kid that got the stars that you hear of in the papers. There's a lot more that goes in to the full team, and it's nice to see them recognize that. As now we will join Mr. Mezzi once again for the national anthem.
The game of football, not unlike the game of life, has its inherent risks, dangers, and pitfalls. Last weekend, Rutgers football player Eric Legrand was seriously injured while making a tackle in a gridiron contest against Army. This evening, Wayne Hills players have positioned a red number 52 decal on their helmets as a show of support for Eric and his family as they go through this very trying and difficult time. Let us keep Eric in our thoughts, and if so inclined, certainly in our prayers, as we wish him well for a full recovery. And with those thoughts in our hearts and minds, let us sound out our loudest round of applause, and may that applause resonate and billow across the evening sky to Hackensack University Medical Center and on to New Brunswick. Ladies and gentlemen, for number 52 of the Rutgers Scarlet Knights, please remain standing as we honor America with the playing of our national anthem by the Wayne Hills Patriot Marching Band.
Well, we hope you enjoyed that heartwarming service on a very cold night for Eric Legrand, the Rutgers linebacker who was paralyzed last week in a game against Army, and really raised a lot of discussion, not just for that hit, but for hits in the NFL, for concussions and leading with the head. And there's been a lot of discussion on ESPN and News Talk Radio about suspending players for hits like that and really just preventing it overall, whether it's through the coaches' practices or just a change in mentality. Something needs to be done about that, and unfortunately, Mr. Legrand of Rutgers led with his head, and it cost him half of his. All his movement.
John, it cost him his chest down, which is such an unfortunate thing. There was a player on Penn State, I believe, that had this happen to him a few years ago. In I think 2004, he is now walking. He does not have full function of his body, but he has recovered. Even to get a little function out of your body is great. I mean, it's so unfortunate. And like you said, I wrote a report today on the helmet-to-helmet, hits today, and the Roger Goodell and the NFL is really coming down hard on people that have been hitting with their helmets, head-to-head shots. I mean, you see penalties now against the quarterback, and even if they go in or lunge at a player, they are getting penalties. We saw last week in a Giants, well, not many of us saw it because it was blocked out on Fox because of their disagreement with Cablevision, but a Lions player had to be carted off the field, and he was taken to the hospital. Luckily, he is not paralyzed as the Rutgers player is, which is so unfortunate. But, they're cracking down hard on this, and they should be, because this is a life or death matter now.
And football is just a game, and no one wants to have their movement taken away from them for the rest of their life. But hopefully, with all the latest technology, stem cell research, and such, Mr. LeGrand could one day be moving his extremities, as you see the captains meeting at midfield for this matchup between Wayne Hills and Bergen Tech. Bergen Tech 0-6 on the year. I mentioned in the pregame, they haven't come within 27 points of a win this year, which is really bad. And guys, you could almost say this one was over before it even started, because walking onto the field, Bergen Tech didn't even put a player on this field till 6:15, 45 minutes before the start of the game. They walked on here in hoodies. They had no spirit. No one really looked excited to play, as opposed to other teams who get here 5:45 in full uniform and they're all hyped up and cheering and stuff.
Well, John, if you're a team as bad as Bergen Tech has been throughout the whole season, when you get pumped up playing a big-time team like Wayne Hills,
yeah,
John,
well, I would be too.
I don't know.
I understand that.
I actually feel bad for teams like this, like Bergen Tech, coming into a game knowing that you're going to play a powerhouse team in Wayne Hills, and this is just going to be an absolute barring an injury from every single senior, junior, and sophomore. They have to go to all the freshman team. I mean, I bet you the freshman team would put up a fight, but I don't know how you can be motivated for a game like this. I mean, you're going to want to come out firing, but you're going to face a defense that double your size. I mean, Bergen Tech, they're filled with smart students and everything. They go to Ivy League schools, but I have a feeling Wayne Hills is going to make them feel stupid tonight.
Well, Bergen Tech has pads and a helmet, and so does Wayne Hills. So, and they both have 11 guys on the field. So, I don't see why Bergen Tech can't win this game.
For now, we might see a full new roster after tonight's game.
Well, as long as number 4 is on the field, we never know. As Peter Davies has injured quite a few players. Mike Treese going to kick it away to start things off here. He's done a great job. I believe he has 13 or 14 touchbacks in just 6 games. Over 2 a game. That's quite a stat. As he boots this one, much shorter. Maybe the cold's getting to him. Going to be fielded at the 10-yard line, taken across the 20, across the 25, and finally taken out of the 28-yard line. So decent field position for Bergen Tech to start off their first drive of the game. And we'll see what Wayne Hill's defense has to offer. We'd expect them to be shut down tonight.
I'd be surprised if Bergen Tech has positive yardage at the end of the night. I mean, this defense has shut down the best of offensive in the county, in the state. I mean, Paramus was the really only one to score on them necessarily.
And Wayne Valley.
Yeah, and Wayne Valley. They only had 1 offensive touchdown, though. So if they have positive yardage, I'd take it as a plus for them.
Well, they set up with 3 wide receivers here. Split backs. It's going to be an option to the right. The back gets toward that far sideline, picks up a gain of 1, maybe 2 or 3 on the play, as it might be a flag. I don't believe so. My bad. Joseph?
Well, your prediction is already wrong. They're plus 3.
It's early,
They're
Joe.
plus 3.
There's still negative yardage time.
They're plus
Joe,
3 is all
Joe,
I'm saying.
Projected for the end of the night, maybe 15 positive yards.
So you just went back on your words.
No, I'm saying, Joe, I'm saying if they do get positive yardage before the end of the night, it would be a plus, but I'd be surprised if they do. I'm saying 15 would be a bonus.
There's an interception by Troy Zaffino, and he's going to take it to the house. We are 20 seconds into this game. Wayne Hills didn't win the coin flip, but they're still up 7-0.
Joe, I'm sorry. What were you saying?
Hey, they still have positive yardage. That was a pick.
They have positive yardage, and they're somehow down. And Wayne Hills' offense hasn't even been on the field yet.
Well, Bergen Tech's quarterback didn't check off anything there. Threw it right to his man, and Troy was sitting on that route. And that hits.
Threw a floater up.
And Troy Zaffino in pursuit of Jeremiah Kale's 9 interceptions a couple years ago. As Eugene Lowe will hold for Mike Drees here. That is Zaffino's 5th interception of the season, as Drees' extra point is good. So Wayne Hill's up 7-0, 20 seconds in. But he's already up to 5. We have at least 3 more games to go, hopefully 5. You think Troy can get it?
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised if he has another 2 tonight.
Well,
Maybe another 3 tonight.
if he is on the field after the first quarter.
I foresee them playing the first quarter out, and I have a feeling that they're going to score extremely quickly. So there will be opportunities as long as Bergen Tech continue to throw the ball for those interceptions to be made.
Well, personally, I think Coach Olson's going to keep the starters in for the entire first half, no matter what the score is.
I'd be surprised. I really would.
No, I wouldn't.
I think he might be scared for. I know this isn't a physical team in Bergen Tech, and I mean they're going to come out hard. But I don't know how.
Twisted ankle.
Yeah, you don't want to see an injury coming into. Next week's game is what matters, John. Next week is Ramapo, and that's what that basically determines their season.
Well,
they're going to make the playoffs either way. But if they beat Ramapo, then they're going to have that #1 seed going into the playoffs.
Well, here comes the second kick return, and as many plays pretty much as it's going to be taken up to about the 23. But Anthony and Joe, I was in Ridgewood last week. You guys weren't, and Coach Olson had Brian Dowling in there late in the 4th in a 28-0 game. So I don't think he's too concerned about injuries. Obviously, he doesn't want them, but I think he's also concerned with getting his starters the full amount of reps going into the most important 3 to 5 games of the season after this. So I really do think he's going to keep the starters in for the first half, but time will tell, and we'll see who's right.
Well, this isn't Ridgewood. I'm sorry, Joe. This isn't Ridgewood. This team lost to Ridgewood, so
42-0.
Yeah, so you see a run. I don't know if they're going to pass the ball again, but this is a totally different team. I see them coming out quick.
John, you're right. I really think he's going to keep Kevin in for the first half.
Yeah.
Like I said in the pregame, to get as much reps as possible before the next 2 weeks, Rampo and St. Joe's. But, yeah, they're going to take their skill players out. Brian Dowling, Troy Zaffino, Mike Drees. Give his sophomore some experience.
Well,
what if there's an injury in the next 2 weeks? They have that experience now.
Well, you just saw number 40, Peter Davies, on the defensive line tonight. He did not play last week against Ridgewood due to concussion, and he's probably not going to play too much tonight, but he's in there here in the first quarter, and we'll see how many people he can injure tonight, as it's going to be a quarterback draw up the middle. Nice run there by the quarterback, able to pick up another 3 yards. It's going to be 3rd and 2 for Bergen Tech. There are 2 positive running plays, picked up 4 on both of them.
Positive yardage.
Well, I talked to Pete before the game, John, and he said he would like to have 4 sacks by the end of the night. Now, the playing time might be limited for him tonight, with the concussion last week, and just overall, this defense is not going to have to do much to stop this Bergen Tech offense. I don't know how long he's going to be in there, but that's a high goal for that a limited amount of playing time.
The clock is ticking on Davies. He better get those 4 sacks real quick. As Bergen Tech's in the shotgun on 3rd and 1, very interesting. 4 receivers and a running back. It's going to be a keeper to the right, and it looks to be snuffed out by Wayne Hills. A loss of 1 or 2 on the play. The first defensive stand of the night for Wayne Hills, and Bergen Tech will have to punt.
I really don't like that play calling by the Bergen Tech.
Well, Joe, what are you going to do? Throw the ball? The first pass he threw was a duck, and it went right to Troy Zaffino.
Well,
maybe if he doesn't throw it right to Troy next time, he's got to throw it to his own teammates.
Yeah, but I think they just stacked the line there and sneak it up the middle. Wayne Hills was showing pressure from the outside on that play, and if they could get enough push from the center and the guards, it was not even 1 yard to get to the sticks. I agree with Joe. I don't like that call either. It's going to be an average punt to the 49. Fielded there by Dowling at the 45. Across the 40. Look out, 30. There he goes, 20. Say goodnight to Brian Dowling.
Night,
as it's 14-0 Wayne Hills. We're not even 3 minutes in, and they're already up by 2 scores.
we said, John, the running clock in the second half is going to be it's going to be big.
Well, guys,
It's going to be 42-0 before you
blink.
you go to the bathroom tonight. You're going to get up. You're gonna leave to get something in the kitchen. You're gonna come back, and Wayne Hills is gonna be up 60.
Well, no disrespect to any other players, but it looked like Brian Dowling was free to run and everyone else had refrigerators on their back because he shot through everybody there and didn't even need blocking. So the second extra point for Mike Drees is through the uprights. I have a feeling we're going to be seeing a lot of Anthony Jordan tonight, along with a lot of Ricky Klee and a lot of sophomores and juniors, as we're going to see a replay here of Dowling's punt and return for a touchdown, 51 yards to the house, making some nice moves, and just another feather in the cap for Dowling. A nice big block there as well. I couldn't see who that was, but just another highlight reel play from Brian Dowling. I mean, editing the highlights of these Wayne Hills games, it's hard not to have only Brian Dowling highlight runs in them.
Well, it's not going to be a lot of him, I think. Like I said, John, he's going to be out early. We already saw one. Maybe he'll have another two in this first quarter. But yeah, this is going to be a stat builder in the first quarter and maybe a little bit into the second quarter. Try to boost your Player of the Year stats for Brian Dowling, but that's going to be it. I don't see him playing in the third or fourth quarter at all. So maybe pack on the stats now, get a few touchdowns, put him at the top of that leaderboard, and that's going to be it for him.
He doesn't even have any carries yet, and Wayne Hills is already up 14-0. Speaking of stats, I like stats. Brian Dowling so far this season, 108 carries for 841 yards and 10 touchdowns, as Drees' line drive kick's going to be taken from the 2. Let's see if they can get to 30
God.
this time, as that's not going to happen. Eaten up at the 18-yard line. That's where Bergen Tech will start their third drive of the night to continue Dowling's stats. 19 catches, 260 yards, and 6 touchdowns. Brian Dowling, a combined 16 touchdowns this year, as opposed to the rest of the team rushing and receiving only 9. So Dowling is beating the rest of the team combined in touchdowns by a lot this year.
He's pretty good.
Oh, John, most of those touchdowns for the other players on Wayne Hills have been when it's become a blowout and some of the other guys have gotten the ball.
1st and 10 for Bergen Tech from their own 18-yard line in the shotgun again. Again, 4 receivers, and it's going to be a handoff up the middle. No gain on the play. But guys, Brian Dowling trying to get to the numbers he put up last year. Has a very good chance of doing that. Touchdowns-wise, he might surpass his numbers from last year, as he put up a huge amount of touchdowns last year and is on track to do even better this year. Yardage-wise, not as much, but obviously still unbelievable numbers from number 9, as he has a chance of surpassing 1,000 yards in this game. Will certainly do so this year, but he might not get the carries tonight to get him that 159 yards he needs for 1,000 on the season, but he'll certainly get that. That's going to be a QB keeper to the right, falling forward for a gain of about 2 there, so it'll be 3rd and 9 for Bergen Tech.
Well, John, one thing you see from Wayne Hills normally is one-sided play. And what I mean by that, the offensive line normally only plays offense and the defensive line only plays defense. What we've seen already tonight is Jake Shunke in that nose tackle for Wayne Hills. They've taken out Roberto Alvarez, and they've put Shunke in that defensive tackle.
Well, that's a new look. I like that decision. Shunke's a very big kid, athletic kid, not the typical 6'7" Chris Fonte, no offense to him out there. Shunke's about 6'4", maybe even 6'5", and definitely I like that call at defensive tackle. Obviously, Jason Avedisian and Roberto Alvarez have had great seasons in their own right. But tonight, going with a new look, seeing if they like it, and maybe, just maybe, we'll see Jake Shunke at defensive tackle later on in the season, as the pass is going to be incomplete on the crossing route. Dropped by the receiver, a better throw that time. Not a lot of arm strength, but on target. Would have been short of the first down, but Bergen Tech's going to have to punt.
I mean, John, this is a game where you can test a lot of your players, see what formations like, plays you like. I mean, this is a game to do that, to prepare for the next 2 weeks.
And Coach Olson has taken that opportunity and ran with it, as he's I wouldn't be surprised to see more guys playing out of position. Not really out of position, but trying to see what their ability can bring as far as versatility is concerned. That's going to be fielded on a hop by Monahan at the 40, gets across the 35, and finally taken down at about the 31-yard line of Bergen Tech. So great field position as Kevin Olson will see the field for the first time already with a 14-0 lead.
Hey, you saw there Monahan a little bit indecision whether to pick up the ball or not initially. Then he put one move on a defender, and he had a nice little run there.
Well, once he got the good hop, he took the ball and ran with it. If it was an awkward hop, he would have let it go. But he had a nice little return there after the indecision. So it's going to be 1st and 10 for Wayne Hills. Olson backs up into the shotgun. It's going to be a sweep to the right to Dowling across the 30 at the 25 and taken down at the 22-yard line. As Dowling is going to pick up 10 or 11 yards and a Wayne Hills first down.
It looked like Brian had an open seam there to the inside or outside, right, Anthony?
Yeah,
it looked like it.
Joe, Eugene Lowe had a nice block there. It really sealed the outside for him. He wasn't able to bounce it out quick enough, kind of ran into Eugene. That allowed the defender to just grab onto his ankle, hold on for his dear life.
Dowling in motion again. It's going to be another sweep to the outside. Here, Brian Dowling, show your speed and get to the pylon inside the 10. 5, touchdown, Wayne Hills. 20-0 Patriots. We're not even midway through the first quarter, and they are having their way with the Knights of Bergen Tech.
Give me some pads, John. Give me some pads and I'll go in. Like I said, these are some intelligent kids for this Bergen Tech team. But Wayne Hills is making them look stupid. Look at that first injury of the night. Like I said, John, they're going to have to replace kids. I'm willing to go play.
Play your QB.
I would love to play quarterback.
Pads for which team?
For Bergen Tech. I can see myself.
Would you want to
playing.
line up against Peter Davies?
Put me in.
Unfortunately, to be a quarterback, John, you have to see over the lineman. So.
Oh, that's so funny, Joe.
That was a good one, Joe. As now we take a look at that Brian Dowling 18-yard touchdown run. Maybe I'll give it a 20-yard touchdown run, as you can't see much of him, but I promise you Dowling snuck through that pylon, and the speed is just too much for Bergen Tech. All it takes is a seal here and a seal there, and Dowling is off to the races because there's no one that can catch him.
Well, John, you saw again. Oh, wow. Look at that's the moon up there. You saw that? You saw that little view really quickly. It was the same play to the opposite side that was run right before where Eugene Lowe sealed the outside. This time Dowling decided to take it to the outside, and nobody could catch up to him.
That's a nice look right there of the moon. It's a full moon tonight. What does that say?
Well, crazy
guys?
things happen in a full moon, but
I'd
look at that for confidence for Bergen Tech, but
you want to know what's crazy, Joe?
What's crazy?
There's almost like 30 fans in the Bergen Tech stands.
Yeah, I noticed that about 5 minutes ago. They've showed up to support their crew. Unfortunately, if they showed up late, they missed.
They've already missed the
21
first 21.
You might as well take a look at the scoreboard and turn around and go back home.
Oh God,
That's a little
that's a little.
Unless your son
those are someone's kids, John.
unless your son's on the field, then of course you want to stay for the game. Ryan Carduck's on that tackle.
The kickoff team is already on scout team. I'm telling you, you're going to see a lot of subs really early.
Well, you know, it's nice to distribute the pride stickers if you're Wayne Hills. Try to get everyone a chance to get those coveted stickers as Mr. Dave Suntup, the one and only, makes an appearance here at Patriot Stadium. I know he's happy about that. So Greenfield on the tackle. We saw Greenfield the last couple weeks get a ton of playing time. He had full-time defensive end the last 3 weeks, or 2 weeks, excuse me, Ridgewood and Paramus. He's got a chance to shine, and he's ran with that opportunity. He's had a great last 2 games.
Well, John, one thing I've said about Matt Greenfield, he comes off the bench with a lot of intensity. He's also one of the faster kids at defensive end on the team. So you have to have a kid like him, to come in and as a boost for your defense.
Well, Greenfield with 27 tackles and 3 sacks in just 2 games at defensive end. Of course, he had some special teams tackles earlier in the season. As here's another floating duck. Dowling can't drag his feet, goes out of bounds. It's going to be 3rd and 9 now for Bergen Tech. But with Joe Lane moving to the offensive line after Casey Cardux's injury, they're spelling Lane a little bit, letting him play only offense as Davies and Greenfield are the defensive ends. We saw Joe Lane play both ways last week after Davies was injured, and he had 2 sacks of his own as well. So, I mean, a host of guys that can play defensive end effectively for Wayne Hills. Under center on 3rd and 9. 4 receivers again. It's going to be a screen to the left. Catch is made, but the receiver falls down immediately as they're going to rule it incomplete, saying he dropped it. He would have lost 2 or 3 on the play, so it's going to be 4th down, and Bergen Tech is going to have to punt again.
See, John, Bergen Tech's playing hard, man. They just dove for a ball right there.
Well, trying to come back out of a 21-0 haul, you better be playing hard.
Well, you guys have been saying all along, why should Bergen Tech even show up? So pick a side.
Well, the game's on the schedule. You have to show up. So if you're here, you might as well try hard and run so you don't stay, so you're not cold, because it's really cold tonight.
John, you said Ridgewood beat this Bergen Tech team 42-0. Wayne Hills is going to try to do that in the first quarter.
I just have a hunch that Ridgewood Bergen Tech game was somewhat boring. Judging by Ridgewood's flex offense, the bone tee that they run, not too entertaining. They didn't have a quarterback that could throw the ball, and neither could Bergen Tech. A lot of rushing yards in that game, and primarily for Ridgewood only. So a timeout called on the field with 5:38 to go in the opening quarter. Wayne Hills leading Bergen Tech 21-0 as a 4th down play here for Bergen Tech. Joe?
John, let me ask you a question. What could the Bergen Tech coach possibly be saying to his players right now?
Don't get hurt.
Why not?
School's on Monday.
Now, these kids are going to have academic scholarship to Ivy League schools.
And
This is a bright school. This is an elite school.
Not to take away anything from what you're saying. We don't want to put these kids down even more, but I believe you're getting confused with Bergen Academy. Mr. Hookstreet told us that Bergen Tech was that Ivy League caliber school, but it's actually Bergen Academy.
Oh, thank you, doctor.
Bergen Tech is a technical school, so these kids will be very successful technicians after high school. As a flag flies, might be interference on Bergen Tech, as the ball is going to be fair caught at the 41-yard line of Bergen Tech. You expect to see Wayne Hills decline any penalties later on in the game out of mercy?
Probably not. Probably. I don't know how many penalties there's going to be. That's the first one of the night.
We would hope the refs keep their flag in their pockets in the second half especially.
You don't want anybody to get hurt.
Well,
that's what the thing is tonight. You don't want anyone to get hurt on either team.
The clock running on a 35-point deficit. We'll probably be running for the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th quarters, guys.
Well, I think you can only have the mercy rule clock running in the second half, not the first half. So we're going to have to play a full first half as Olsen airing it out deep down the field. Caught and tackled inside the 5-yard line is Troy Zaffino, getting all the way down to the 2. So Olsen's first pass attempt of the night is a good one, and Wayne Hills has a 1st and goal.
John, that's my favorite play.
That looked like a play-action pass.
Joe, you stole the words right from me. It was a play-action pass, and that's what Kevin Olsen has begun to,
establish.
Well, not only that, but to put it into his repertoire. He's become very good at it, and he's able to throw the deep ball now, especially against a team like this. This is a tune-up game to make sure his passes are crisp.
And you're going to expect Kevin the next 2 years of high school career to use it frequently, maybe 5 or 10 times a game.
Well, Joe, we've already seen that he has an extremely strong arm.
Well, here's another play-action pass looking for Davies, and it's caught for the touchdown. Touchdown, Wayne Hills, as Olsen hits Peter Davies in the back of the end zone, and Wayne Hills now leads 27-0.
Well, John, he was waiting there with nobody around him, waving his hands around. It's kind of hard to miss the 6'4", Peter Davies, but
he almost underthrew him.
Exactly, Joe. He did almost underthrow him. That's something Kevin's got to work on. I don't know how much more he's going to play tonight, or how much more he is going to throw the ball, but he was wide open.
Well, no one was covering Peter Davies. I don't know how you miss him at 6'4", sneaking through your linebackers. But Bergen Tech managed to do that as Drees' extra point is good. So it's 28-0 as we'll take a look at Olsen's touchdown pass. And preceded by that, the deep throw to Zaffino. As here's a look at the replay from the field level. Olsen, that's a nice touch pass to Zafino, hit him right in the numbers as the safety was able to make the play, saving the touchdown, but it didn't mean much because on the very next play, the play action fools Mr. Hookstrait as Davies makes the catch in the back of the end zone to make it 28-0 Patriots. So it looks like Coach Olsen deciding whether it's going to be a running drive or a passing drive. How do you want to score, guys? Running or passing?
Well, they scored off a pass, and the play previous to that one, they threw the deep ball, the play action pass, my favorite one.
Let's see. We've scored in all 4 ways possible. First drive, defense. Second drive, special teams. Third drive, running. Fourth drive, passing. What's left? Letting Bergen Tech score.
I do not foresee that. Unless they play all sophomores tonight, and I think these sophomores will put up a pretty decent fight as well. I do not see that happening.
So kickoff is fumbled at the 2, trying to get back to the 10. That's not going to happen. Taken back at about the 6-yard line.
Go figure. You see the starting defensive tackle on the kickoff team.
Well,
I think he is fast enough. Excuse me, John. I really think he is fast enough to control that position.
Well, he showed it right there as he tackled the returner at his own 6. So maybe we'll give him the 8. 1st and 10 for Bergen Tech. The spotters are being generous. Now let's see if Bergen Tech can finally get in to Wayne Hill's territory. 2 receivers this time. They put a tight end at the line as it's going to be blown dead before the snap. Probably a false start on Bergen Tech. And it is. So that'll mark off half the distance to the goal. It'll be a 4-yard penalty back to the 4-yard line with 4:47 to go in the first quarter. As we already see Anthony Jordan warming up on the sidelines.
You beat me to it, John. Anthony Jordan, one of those 4-year guys that doesn't get much publicity or playing time, but, he is a kicking specialist. We'll see him tonight.
Handoff up the middle, a loss of 1 on the play. It'll set up second and 15 for Bergen Tech. As the clock ticks down here, Anthony will get a lot of kicking duties tonight, whether it's on kickoffs, extra points. I don't see too many field goals tonight. As here's your unsung hero, Jimmy Kenny on the tackle.
Oh, Anthony loves those unsung heroes.
I love those unsung heroes.
He loves a play action pass and the unsung heroes.
Unsung heroes, Joe. Those are my 2 things. Jimmy Kenny's one of them. Matt Greenfield is another one, and so is Eugene Lowe. Blockers, tacklers, guys that come on with energy.
That you don't see on the stat sheet very often.
You don't see on the stat sheet, but those are the players that make a championship.
Handoff up the middle. The runner's able to fall forward for a gain of about 5 on the play, but Bergen Tech faces a 3rd and 10 now. As the Hells Bells continue this year on the 3rd down defensive plays for Wayne Hills.
That's one of those things you see in college football, John. You get a 3rd down. I know Rutgers plays a little bit of a guitar solo every 3rd down. That's their thing. You see it sometimes in the NFL. Wayne Hill is trying to establish that they're that much better than any other team.
The Jets used to have the P.C. Richards theme song when they picked up a 1st down on offense. I think that's stopped now, but they used to have that. So that's Wayne Hill's thing, and I like it. It sounds good. So it's going to be another handoff up the middle. No gain, maybe 1. So Bergen Tech's going to have to punt again, and Wayne Hills figures to have even better field position if they don't run it back on the punt.
I really think by the end of the night, Andrew Monahan will have his fair share of touches and a touchdown. I really think that. Because he's going to get a lot of opportunities.
I also think Justin Beveridge is going to have a lot of opportunities, and I think it's a big night for him. I mean, in all seriousness, it's a big night for Justin Beveridge to prove himself to Coach Olsen that he can have meaningful carries next year after Brian Dowling leaves. Dowling has almost every carry on this year's team. Of course, Hogan is the only other one, and Massey don't get carries, and they're all seniors. So next year it's going to be a host of runners if that kick goes out of bounds at the 30-yard line. It's going to be a host of new runners next year. You expect Troy Zafino to get the bulk of the handoffs, but he's a very effective receiver, and they might need him to split out wide every now and then. So it's going to be, right now it figures to be Dom Santoro, but Justin Beveridge has made a very fair case that he should be the primary runner next year out of the backfield.
Yeah, John, he has, but Beveridge already has a touchdown this year. I expect to see Troy stay at that wide receiver position, and I also foresee Eric Moskal with not a ton of receptions, but I see him getting significant playing time at the wide receiver position.
Well, when you have Kevin Olson as your quarterback, he might have a lot of receptions because you figure Wayne Hills is going to be a primarily throwing team next year as Brian Dowling breaks another one, gets inside the 10 and into the end zone for the touchdown. Brian Dowling's second rushing touchdown and third touchdown of the night, and Hills is now up 34-0.
I don't know what
This is a massacre right now.
It's the first
There you
quarter.
go, Anthony Jordan into the game. Way to be, Ant.
Well, there's number 15, senior kicker Anthony Jordan getting in for his first of possibly very many extra points tonight, as I believe Dave Suntep set the over-under for the first quarter at 28-0, and right now Hills is way over, and it could be even worse by the time the 2:17 wipes off the clock here in the first.
They're going for Ridgewood. 42-0.
Oh, it's a keeper to Eugene Lowe. He's going to throw it back to Nick Massey, who catches it in the end zone for the 2-point conversion. It looked like they almost designed it that way, and Eugene made a perfect throw to Nick Massey, and Hills is just rubbing it in the face of the Bergen Tech. It's 36-0.
Oh, you got to feel great for Eugene. That's his first touchdown pass
Of his career.
of his career.
Well, who knows? Maybe we'll see him under center tonight.
So we're going to see the touchdown before that beautiful 2-point play. As Dowling with just another strong run on that far sideline. Just too much speed. No one could even think about catching up to him. Once he got past that corner, there was no one to make a play on him. As you take a look at the sidelines, you know what, Anthony? You might be right. The starters might not even make it to halftime at this rate.
They only need one more touchdown to beat Ridgewood.
Oh, they're going to beat Ridgewood.
Oh, I'm saying in the first quarter alone.
Oh, in the first quarter. It's possible. Because now that 2-point conversion makes
That would put him over.
Yep. As long as Anthony Jordan hits the extra point, which is a given for him. As that ball is a touchback from Drees. The first time he's done that tonight. You'd expect the kickoffs to get shorter and shorter as the game gets less and less intense, but Drees able to muster up some energy there and hit that one 3 yards deep. So Bergen Tech with good field position by their standards. They'll start at their own 20 this time.
Ricky Clee has checked into the game for Jimmy Kenny.
And we will see a lot of him tonight. Is Ricky playing linebacker? I can't
Ricky does
tell.
play middle linebacker.
So he'll get his fair share of playing time. He'll get over 3/4 of action. It's just going to be a handoff to the right. Not much there. A gain, no gain on the play. 2nd and 10 for Bergen Tech. As they're just trying to keep it respectable.
Respectable down 36.
I think it's been way past respectable, John.
Respectable was lost at 14.
In the first minute, 30 seconds.
Guys, let's not laugh.
Well, I'm not laughing at them.
There you see Eugene Lowe's, the most recent. As you see the LeGrand stickers on the helmets. That's a nice touch by Wayne Hills. Sometimes I wonder where they get the money for this stuff. It's as if they're a college team getting all these inside connections to get these nice little patches. As it's going to be a gain of 3 there on the run, 3rd and 7. I'd imagine it's the booster club. But even if, no matter how they got the money for it, it's a great gesture by Wayne Hills that will probably go unnoticed by Rutgers. But it raises awareness in Wayne about the situation because it's not something to be overlooked. As a young man, lost movement for maybe, hopefully not, but probably the rest of his life. And it's worth raising awareness to football parents that those dangers are always in play, as it's going to be a pass to the right. Catch is made right around the sticks. Give it to him.
I think they are.
Give him the
They
first
might. They're going to place it at the 30.
Yeah, the sticks are right there. They're right at the sticks.
They're going to give him the first.
It's a first down for the Knights of Bergen Tech.
That might be one of the few on the night. And that might eliminate Wayne Hills from defeating Ridgewood's 42-0
in the first quarter. Well, that will eliminate it because the clock is going to be ticking under 50 seconds now, and we'd expect Bergen Tech to run the ball on at least one play out of the next three.
Fumble. Come on.
Whoa.
It's going to be a handoff up the middle.
Strip.
They got a seal, but
Fumble.
the running back does not have the speed to get back to the line. A loss of 2 on the play. Tackle made by Massey and Zafino.
Come on, Coach. Call
A
it
loss
timeout.
of 2 on the play. 36 seconds to go in the opening quarter and counting. Anthony, why are you so key on Wayne Hills beating Ridgewood in the first quarter?
Because that's an accomplishment.
It's pride. It's a
And
pride
that-
factor,
it-
John.
it just saying that you can outscore a team 43-0 when other scores have only beat them 42-0 an entire game is incredible.
Well, there's teams that have only beat Bergen Tech by 27.
Well, they've already beat them, so just add it to the list.
36-0 is good enough
they're
for
gonna
a
let the
first
clock
quarter.
run out.
That'll do it for the first quarter of action, with Wayne Hills leading Bergen Tech by a score of 36-0. We'll be back with the second quarter after this. Excuse me, we're not going to go to a break. My mistake. So, guys, 36-0 Wayne Hills.
I'm disappointed.
Are the starters?
I'm disappointed
Why are you disappointed?
because I wanted to see the big old 43.
All right, so now we're going to take a break. We'll be back with the second quarter of action from Wayne Hills High School after this.
Yo,
This is
I mean, Anthony, you know a thing or two about broken upper body limbs.
that I do.
Kickoff taken by Dowling at the 30, breaks it at the 40, he's got room at the 50, there he goes, 40, 30, 25, 20, let's go!
Talk to what?
Well, back here at Wayne Hills High School, we have a very special guest joining us in the booth here at Wayne Hills. It's the one and only Mr. David Suntup, back from Syracuse University in his junior year. Dave, how does it feel to be back here at Wayne Hills?
It feels great, especially since the Patriots are up 35-0. Seems like things haven't changed too much since I left in 2008.
Well, Dave, we've been lucky enough to have some close games since you've left. Notably, with Wayne Valley, the last couple of years, we of course had a battle where Wayne Hills lost against St. Joe's last year. I'm sure you're aware of all those games. So, unfortunately, you had more blowouts than we did, but this is a typical 2006, 7, and 8 Wayne Hills football game.
Especially with Brian Dowling, the way he's been playing, he's just been unbelievable. He's getting at least like 3-4 touchdowns in every game. Kevin Olson, the sophomore quarterback, has come in, and he looks like Mike Quinn did last year, and his older brother Christian Olson did back in the day, back in 2001 and the 2002 season. So, I mean, they haven't missed a beat. They have a great offense. They have a great defense. But the one thing for Wayne Hills football, it's about winning in December. If you don't come away with a win in December, then the season's a failure. That's the bottom line.
And of course, we saw that failure last year in the state championship against Ramapo. But looking at this team, if you've only seen them for one quarter, of course it looked impressive against this Bergen Tech team. How would you assess this year's team as opposed to the teams that you saw in your career?
Well, they score a lot of points. They have a great running back in Brian Dowling. The teams that I saw, especially my senior year, which was the 2007 season, you had Dan DeSico and Carlton Morrison, among others. You also had Ronnie Drees. So you had a lot of running backs that were able to step in and make big plays. I mean, it's mostly Brian Dowling show and then Kevin Olson. And you have a defense that gets after the quarterback and is aggressive.
Yeah, you made a very fair assessment of the team in just one quarter. That defense really does get to the quarterback. The defensive line has been tremendous all year long, as Bergen Tech's going to have to punt now on 4th and 10. And my freshman year team, your senior year team, a few years back with Gian Papa at quarterback, to me that was the strongest Wayne Hills team I've ever seen. Mike Quinn really kept the offense together the last couple of years, but they didn't have quite as many weapons. Of course, they did have Dowling the last couple of years, as Monahan's going to take this punt across the 45, maneuvers across the 50, and is finally taken down at the 45-yard line of Bergen Tech. And that's where Olsen and the Wayne Hills offense will take over. But Dave, as you say, you've been moved on to bigger and better things off at Syracuse. Back here on break, I mean, there's so much I'm sure you could say about the program up there. Of course, me, Anthony, and I are thinking about applying to Syracuse. Talking to us and anyone else interested in broadcasting, what would you say about that program and what opportunities have you had up there?
Well, it's an incredible program, not only talking about Newhouse, but talking about the radio stations and the television station. I'm the sports director at Z89 Sports in Syracuse, and we cover high school football every Friday night. So even though I'm not here on Friday nights, I'm still around the central New York area calling games, going to games to be a reporter, hosting in studio, so I'm very involved with that. We also cover Syracuse women's basketball, and we're the flagship station for Syracuse women's lacrosse. I'm actually back for Women's Basketball Big East Media Day in New York City, which was yesterday. I got to talk with Gina Oriema, Maya Moore, who is the Big East preseason player of the year, one of the top players in the nation. So it was cool talking to all the players and coaches, and I'll also get involved with the men's stuff, SU men's football, men's basketball, men's lacrosse, and I'm doing some TV stuff as well. So it's busy, but I mean, if you're going to go to Syracuse, and this goes for anyone, you can't just focus on classes. You have to dive into the stations right away, and that's how you really make your mark, and that's the way you're going to get jobs in the future.
Well, that sounds very cool, getting to meet Oriema and Maya Moore and getting to cover big-time athletics as just a junior in college. A lot of opportunities over there at Syracuse as Wayne Hill picks up the first down there on Dowling's first down carry. But Dave, there's a lot of kids in this Wayne Hills program, not just Anthony, Joe, and I, interested in announcing. You'll see them in the second half tonight as they'll get a chance to get behind the mic, as this is, of course, a great program led by Mr. Hookstraight. If you had any advice to give all of us looking to announce, or even behind-the-scenes stuff, what would it be going into the professional world?
Right now, at the high school level, definitely do the TV station stuff with Mr. Hookstraight, because the man knows what he's doing. He has a lot of experience with MSG.
As there you see Brian Dowling with his third rushing touchdown of the night, fourth total, as he takes that one for a 34-yard touchdown run as Hills goes up 42-0, Dave.
Well, Brian Dowling's just been unbelievable. He's getting so many holes on both sides of the field, and he's making it look so easy. It looks like he's not even breaking a sweat out there.
Well, he's probably not, considering how cold it is tonight and how he hasn't even had to take it to that next level speed-wise, because he just blows past everybody. No one on Bergen Tech can run with him. But
getting back to your question, John, the biggest thing in high school is doing the stuff here, but getting good enough grades where you could apply it and get accepted to the schools that you want to attend, especially a school like a Syracuse or the University of Miami, Fordham, schools like that. You want to go to a place where they've had successful alum, and they have, the radio stations, the TV stations, the radio stations that are going to travel and do road games. Like, for instance, the station where I'm the sports director is the student station. It's not the professional one that covers SU men's basketball and SU men's lacrosse, and we're going to every SU women's basketball game, every SU women's lacrosse game. So it's really valuable to have those experiences and just see what it's like out in the real world.
Well, Anthony and I are both considering applying to several of the TV schools that are special, such as Syracuse and Fordham, like you mentioned. Now, I can't take this cold. Tonight is a miserable night for me. It's in the 40s, but I want to go south for school. I applied to University of Florida this week. I'm looking to apply to some schools in North Carolina. They all have great programs, but do you think this area, New York, and this is a personal question really, staying in this area, how valuable is that? And do you think the schools down south have the same opportunities that a New York area school would have?
It really depends. If you go to a school like Fordham, they also cover some of the pro teams like the Knicks, the Rangers, the Yankees, and the Mets, so that's very valuable in addition to the work that they do for their campus teams. Syracuse is amazing because you connect with all those alums and have so many opportunities to call games. Miami, I would definitely look at the U because they've had some successful alum and they do a lot of games. And I mean, getting to call University of Miami football at Sun Life Stadium or whatever they call it now, it's had so many name changes, is really a neat thing. But the one piece of advice that I'd give to you or anyone else is, if this is what you really want to do, you're really going to have to work hard. You're going to have to make a lot of sacrifices at night in terms of schoolwork, breaks. You're really going to have to put 110% into it and realize that this is the most important thing in your life. Because if you're not willing to put in the work day in and day out, it might not be the profession for someone who's aspiring to be a broadcaster.
Well, Dave, thanks so much for joining us tonight. It's definitely a pleasure to have you here in a cold, lonely game, as it looks like Wayne Hills is going to have no problem with this one. So it's a highlight to see you come around and give us the best advice from someone who's been around the college level of broadcasting. So thank you so much for all the advice, and we hope to see you back here soon.
You got it, John. Hopefully you guys will be at the new Meadowlands Stadium the first weekend in December for a North 1 Group 3 state sectional championship game. I mean, the big test for Wayne Hills going forward, they have Ramapo next week. They have St. Joe's on the road. That game won't mean anything in terms of power points, but I think this team realizes it's not about going undefeated. It's not about having 55-game winning streaks. It's about winning state championships. So hopefully that this team could get it done this year because there's a lot of seniors on this team that are hurting after last year.
Well, we certainly hope to have Wayne Hills win a state championship at the new Meadowlands Stadium. So, Dave, thanks again for all your input as Wayne Hills' defense continues to dominate Bergen Tech. It's going to be a 3rd and long now for the Knights. As Dave will head down to the field. Sounds like we're going to have a special interview with Dave and Mr. Stambulian, who had quite a connection while Dave was here. They used to do quite a few interviews over the years. And it's really, really nice to see Dave back here at Wayne Hills. It shows that he didn't forget us as he moves on to bigger and better things.
Yeah, John, and he did give some great advice. I mean, he knows what it means to be somewhat of a professional broadcaster at this point. He goes to probably the best school for communications, Syracuse Newhouse, which I am going to apply to.
Me too.
I'm going to try to get in. I mean, Dave was a much better announcer than I am and will be. But, you know, I aspire to do what he's doing now. And, you know, he's very knowledgeable about the subject.
So 4th and 4 for Bergen Tech. They're going to have to punt. But keeping things in perspective, going back to our futures, we certainly wanted to do this in the future. And there's a lot of steps to be made. Right now we're going through the application process. Fordham and Syracuse, like we mentioned, are the 2 best schools in the area. Also, Quinnipiac is supposed to be pretty good up in Connecticut. So Anthony and I will be applying to all 3 of those schools. I'm also, like I said, looking down south. Joe?
Well, I'm just jealous of you guys because you guys are just so smart.
Joe, you're smart too. As Monahan's going to take it across the 50. Plenty of running room across the 40. Now at the 30, gets a nice block. Flags fly. It won't count. Monahan's taking it out of the 24. But it's going to come back, and Wayne Hill should start the drive at about the Bergen Tech 40. But, Joe, you're smart too.
John, I know you don't mean that, okay?
I mean
While
it.
Anthony's choking on his hot chocolate laughing.
No, Joe's smart. Joe, you might not have the academics to get into certain schools, but you do have the sports knowledge that a lot of us don't have. You've been a sports fanatic ever since I've known you, which is a young age, probably the 3rd or 4th grade. You've known a lot about sports, as you as well, John. I mean, we've been sports fans and we've been sports players. So just to be a player of the game, you have to know the sport. And that,
we know the game.
Yeah, I think that gives us an advantage on a lot of other kids that are announcing. I mean, we know the game.
That's a great point. I mean, passion goes a long way. And everyone I've talked to at the different universities I've visited say that in broadcasting and communications, experience and passion will go a lot further than a 3.5 GPA. And that speaks volumes about, I'm not going to downplay high school classes, but that's basically what the universities told me when I went to the communication departments.
Well, that's why we send in our videos, John, rather than just our academics. That gives us maybe that competitive edge that we need. I know we both, and you too, Joe, I mean, I'm looking to do this in the future. I love this. I love being surrounded by sports all the time. And, you know, just to be around my friends that are playing the sport, it makes it that much better. And to be with you guys who also know sports and play sports with me, it's amazing.
It really is enjoyable, what we've gone through the past 4 years. Of course, like Anthony said, just being around sports all the time, that's what we love. And calling the games has just made it that much more fun, as we're going to welcome in John Giardello to the booth. John is our longtime cameraman as we're trying to spice things up in a 43-0 game. So, John, you've been watching the game from behind the camera. Not much to say about it, but if you had to make some comments on this game, what have you seen so far?
Well, all I've really seen from this game is a complete lack of skill and expertise on the part of Bergen Tech. I mean, this game has been utterly dominated by Wayne Hills, as we see halfway through the 2nd quarter. Most of the subs are in right now. I think Andrew Monahan will take this snap at quarterback. Just a lucky break for Wayne Hills to have this game before 2 tough ones on the road to finish out the season.
Yeah, well, Beveridge is in the game right now at running back. As you see, another hard carry from him. Gets right around the 1st down. It looks that he has it at the 31-yard line of Bergen Tech. But, John, we've been talking about our futures in the broadcasting industry. You're looking to go into behind-the-scenes stuff, movie making and all sorts of things. Tell us about what you've heard from colleges and any advice you could give as far as getting into schools and what you want to do.
Well, I'm looking to go into the communication field, mostly radio, TV, film. Any kind of career I can get in producing entertainment would make me happy. But a lot of what I've heard is that most schools look at your essay to evaluate your writing, your creativity. as we see a little skirmish there, number 4, Bergen Tech. But the best schools, which would be Northwestern, Syracuse, Florida, they look for a combination of experience and academics, because without the academic part, you can't get that degree.
That's a very good point, because they, like I said, also as well as the passion. When I went to the schools, they also stress experience, and that'll get you a long way. And like Anthony said, we are sending in our DVDs of things we've done here with Wayne Hills TV and Wayne Hills football specifically, as it's going to be a handoff to Beverage again. Not much there. So the second team offensive line not getting the push that the first team offensive line did. So this game might be evening out at the moment. But the experience we have here at Wayne Hills will certainly help us in the application process. And once we get into college, it will be, to use a recruiting term, a lot more seasoned than other kids coming into the field. Because I know some kids from other schools that have a vague interest in doing this. They're like, yeah, I like sports. Let's try broadcasting.
Yeah.
And they're going to show up at the school and be nowhere near our level.
No, and John, I agree with you 100%. I think a lot of that has to go to Mr. Hookstraight, who runs the TV program, along with Mr. Berkowitz. They push us. They really do. They make sure that everything we do is correct, and the way we edit it is sound. They want us to be very well prepared for college, and the way we edit our games is just fantastic. In fact, we won an award last year, and you won your own personal award, John, for your video. But Mr. Hookstraight and the rest of the TV program won an award for overall production, which is a real honor.
It really is. We're now an award-winning program here at Wayne Hills TV. As you see, the run up the middle into the end zone is Justin Beveridge for the touchdown, his second of the night, and it's now 49-0 Wayne Hills.
Going back to Mr. Hookstraight and the TV club, the most credit in the world to Mr. Hookstraight for constantly preparing people year after year to go into college with a sound background in communications and broadcasting, but also experience with equipment like cameras, Final Cut Pro, editing, things like that, because that's valuable in all sorts of careers, from advertising to film to radio. So Mr. Hookstraight's really done a great job of preparing people year after year.
Not only that, John, look at the alumni he's produced. Matt Gallo is now announcing. Justin Rubino is working for the Major League Lacrosse. Chad Cutler, who graduated from Arizona State, is now working for MSG Varsity. He's fantastic. I've watched some of his stuff. He's on YouTube everywhere. He's just fantastic. I mean, John, you actually remind me a little bit of him, because you guys are both so like fluid. Your flow is incredible, and you guys really know the game, and I think that's important. And even Mr. Suntup, that was just on with us, he's now at the best communication school in the country. So obviously something is going right in the TV program, and a lot of that has to do with Mr. Hookstraight.
And you can't forget Sean Yu and Andrew Gaio at Ithaca. There's so many names that have been successful in college because of this program, because of what Mr. Hookstraight does, which is push you towards perfection. I mean, there's a little blip in your editing, and he's on you for it.
I mean, you go in thinking that your video is great, you come out feeling extremely humbled.
That's a great way to put it, Anthony, because we might think it's good, and compared to what other high school kids do, we might think that our video is good, but he wants you to be even better. And when you get to college, stand out, and that's exactly what Wayne Hills alumni have done in college. And that's what's going to get you the big intern and land you the big job after you graduate.
And I think this experience goes a long way for kids like us, John. I mean, not a lot of other schools do this. And you saw our videos are now officially award-winning, which is, I think we take that for granted because, this is just an average thing we do on the, Friday nights and during the weekends and during the week for other sports. But we take this a lot more seriously than other schools do, and I think that's why Wayne Hills has produced the amount of announcers, broadcasters, and editors that they have.
And the students feed off each other. I mean, you can look toward the second half of this game. We have a waiting line of announcers that want to try to get their chance behind the mic. I mean, we're kind of taking their chances because we've been here a while and we know the game well, but now that they've seen us do a good job, but they didn't win awards for it,
they want to take their shot at announcing, and they're going to get that shot in the second half of this game in about 4 minutes after this half is over, as there's 3:54 to go in this first half. And there's, of course, a lot of behind-the-scenes kids and students that enjoy doing this, and feeding off each other really inspires students to go into this in college, because if the program was average and mediocre, they might not be as passionate about it, and they might not want to take that risk in college of trying to make it in this industry, because it's not easy. As you see a run up the middle, a gain of 2 on the play. They're going to be 3rd and 6 now for Bergen Tech.
Now, games like these are a great chance for Coach Olson to see what he has in his team for next year, see what some players are capable of right now, where they need to improve. You see Mike Areno in that safety before, and Christian Graff caught a pass. So Coach Olson trying to get a little sneak peek of what he could do with his players for next year.
Well, I did not bring a Wayne Hills roster with me as I did earlier in the season, figuring I know the numbers of every important player on Wayne Hills.
Well, let's see what we got.
Well,
I think you have Beveridge at corner on the far side of your screen. You have Mike Areno at safety. You have Ryan Cardux at outside linebacker. Ricky Clee at inside linebacker.
Monahan at corner.
Monahan at corner, and Shunky's younger brother is at outside linebacker as well.
Very good, Anthony. I would not have known any of that.
Roberto's still in the game, which is surprising to me.
Well,
I think 55 is Nick Galizia. I mean, that's as far as my knowledge of this team goes.
Hey, that's pretty good. You got like 7 out of 11 right there.
I think 56 might be Benzenhofer.
Yeah.
I might
Not
be
sure. I don't think so. Matt is bigger than I think that 56.
Oh, no, he's 73. He is in the game.
Defensive tackle. That's where Benzenhofer's in a defensive tackle. So it's going to be 3rd and 11 for Bergen Tech, as this second-team defense done a good job on this drive. 3 receivers for Bergen Tech. It's going to be a quarterback keeper up the middle. Nothing there, eaten up by the defense. A loss of 2 on the play, and Bergen Tech's going to have to punt. And a testament to Wayne Hills' depth, as this second-team defense looks just as dominating as the first-team defense.
And you know what's crazy, John? These kids are sophomores, juniors, and a few seniors here or there. They get started on a lot of other teams that we've played.
Absolutely. I mean, Anthony Jordan could be a stud kicker on any other
Oh,
high
he
school.
really could. We've seen some teams that have just atrocious kickers. And not to say that, I'm a good kicker or anything, and I shouldn't be the one judging. But we've seen some bad kicks, snaps, everything. I mean, a lot of these Wayne Hills kids would be starting at other schools.
Well, that was a decent punt. But the Bergen Tech punter hasn't exactly been outstanding tonight by any means. And like you said, we've seen tons of shanks in our 4 years here. And Wayne Hills punters just don't do that. I mean, from Dan DeSico to Tim Divers to Brian Dowling, they've all been solid. And even if their bad punts are not bad, and that's the key in high school, where you're not expecting 50-yard punts on a regular basis. You're expecting at least 35-yard punts on a regular basis. Anything more than 40 is a plus.
And there you see Mr. Hookstray,
the man behind the scenes who we've been praising so much in the second quarter, pacing the sidelines, going to work. He lives for this. And it's a toss to Beveridge to the right. Gets across the 35 at the 40 and tripped up at the 46-yard line. That's a 15-yard run for Justin Beveridge and a Wayne Hills first down.
I'll tell you, John, Justin Beveridge just runs hard. I think he has a bright future in this Wayne Hills program. Probably going to be splitting carries with Dom Santoro next year. But he's just an intense player, even at this stage in the game, 50-0, close to halftime. He's still out there giving it his all, and that's definitely going to lead to success in the Wayne Hills program.
Yeah, and we've heard a lot about him from, some of the seniors that are starting. They say this kid's going to come in next year and surprise a lot of people. I mean, he might run, a little, not uptight, but like upright, and he's going to get hit. But they say the way he runs, he just hits the hole and he doesn't stop.
Well, we know Justin, and he's a very intense competitor, and he is not going to let any weak hit bring him down. He will run through people. He's not afraid of contact, that is for sure. And it all comes from the mentality of his father, Thomas
and Justin's not a loud or obnoxious kid. He just goes about his business,
I mean, look at this. I mean, nobody. It's hard to take him down because he just hits the hole and he's gone. He's past you before you even notice.
So flags fly. It's going to probably be either an illegal shift or a holding on Wayne Hills. So that'll back things up and create a more difficult challenge for Beveridge.
I just want to make sure I get this in, John. You saw before it was senior night. Eugene Lowe and his family walked out with brother-in-law Sean Annan, one of the top realtors in North Jersey. If you're looking to sell a home, give him a shout-out, Preakness Realty.
Well, you see Gene Lowe signs all over town. So if you have property you want to put on the open market, you know where to go.
And if you need a dumpster, call James Hogan.
Or Jim Hogan. You can find his number on the 10-yard line as his sign is there.
Jeez, I need to get my dad's candy business up here. I feel like I need to throw it out to my dad.
Well, this is the time to bring in solicitors.
Well, promotion in motion. They sell candy, including gummy bears, Welch's fruit snacks, Sun-made chocolate raisins.
Well, you know, our commercials are Patriot classics, but we're considering
we need to get some real commercials.
Considering how professional our program is, it's only a matter of time before we have businesses calling us up asking.
We can start making some real cash. Is
I
that
mean,
legal? Can we do this?
I'm not sure, but you know what? Something tells me as soon as we graduate, that's going to happen, and the announcers after us will be making numbers in 5 digits, maybe 4. Well, that'll do it for the first half of action, with Wayne Hills winning a half a century to nothing. 50-0 Wayne Hills. Guys, Mr. Hookshire is going to make the call to the bullpen right now as we will be leaving the booth for the night. We hope you enjoyed our commentating, not so much about the game, but we had a good time. We hope you enjoyed it. Real quick, guys, final thoughts on this game going into a very important game next week against Ramapo. It's time to get serious.
Well, John, I mean, this is a tune-up game. Their starters got in, got their business done. They came out, scored fast. 20 seconds into the game, they had already had 7 points on the scoreboard. So that's exactly what they needed to do. And I also thought that Kevin Olson needed to make his passes. He did that tonight. He had, a deep pass to Troy Zaffino, and he had a nice pass to Peter Davies for the touchdown. And I think that's exactly what they needed to do. Now they can get their starters some rest, have them healthy for next week. That's the one thing I was scared about. I did not want them to have any injuries going into next week because that's a big game. That determines your seeding for the playoffs. And if they can get that number 1 seed, we can see Wayne Valley here at Patriot Stadium.
You're right, Anthony. They basically played perfect in every facet of the game, defense, special teams, offense. And Coach Olson did what his team expected to do. They're up 50-0. I mean, what can you say?
Well, going into the game, I said this is a night to iron out the kinks and try to work towards perfection. That's exactly what Wayne Hills did. Kevin Olson, 2 for 2 with a touchdown. He was perfect. Brian Dowling scored a touchdown on almost every carry. The second team looks great, but more importantly, the first team looks like they're playing at the top of their game. They're in mid-season form going into the 2 most important games of the regular season, the final 2 weeks, which are both on the road. So, guys, it's important to point out this is the last regular season home game we will ever experience at Patriot Stadium in our high school careers, as the next time we will be here for a football game will be in the first round of the North 1 Group 3 state playoffs. And this win against Bergen Tech tonight will pretty much clinch home field in at least the first round and probably the semis as well.
Johnny, you're going to get me emotional. Don't do that. I'm going to miss this place.
Don't do that.
Don't do that, John.
That's weak.
Come on.
That's weak. Stay strong, John. I know you're wearing a Met hat, but stay strong.
Oh!
Well, it's called loyalties. Anyway, so Wayne Hill's going to be 7-1 going into the playoffs at the worst. Of course, if they beat Ramapo 8-0, and the St. Joe's game won't count towards the playoffs.
Oh, they're going to
So
play
you
hard
know
in
Wayne
that
Hills is going to get
pride.
a 1, 2, or 3 seed, with Ultapan and Ramapo being also in the top 3. So we'll get at least 1 home game here in the playoffs, probably 2. So we'll see more games here, but last regular season game. So Wayne Hill's on the road the next 2 weeks. Important games, of course. We will be there in Ramapo and probably St. Joe's as well. So that'll do it for the first half of action here from Patriot Stadium. We will break down the game even further, as we have been asked to stall for time, as we try to assemble.
Come on, John,
David
you
Suntup.
ruined my exit. I was going to say Scudillo, out, like Seacrest. No, I don't know what to say now.
I'm sorry.
Now
the
I got to think of
band-
something creative.
You ruined mine too. I was gonna say that's a rat, man. How perfect is that?
You should have
Well,
saved that, Joe.
You just said it.
You should have
Well,
saved
Joe,
that.
before, you know what? I'm going to let you throw it down to the field to the band. Take it away, Joe.
The band is now playing on the field.
Scudillo out.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We would like to honor the band seniors and their parents at this last regular season home game for the Wayne Hills Patriots. Our first honoree is snare drummer Stephen Pfizer, who is with his parents Catherine and Randy. Next is Steve Carney, drum major and member of the hip section, with his mother Patty. Alto sax player Joe Catanzaro is accompanied by his parents, Jerry and Jimmy. Samantha D'Amico, tenor saxophonist, is with her parents, Kathy and Rachel. Alexis Durlavin, librarian and a member of the Color Guard, is accompanied by her sister Amy, who is representing their parents who are celebrating their 25th anniversary as Team of Love. Next is Amy Fitzgerald, who is a player who is with her parents, Mary and David. Jennifer Thornberger, librarian and piccolo player, is escorted by her parents, Lorraine and Katie. Band president and percussion captain Ryan Gross is with his parents, Linda and Don. Ryan Lush, who plays alto sax, is accompanied by band director Matt Paterno. Jessica Lindsay, his section leader, is being escorted by her uncle Jim Lindsay and both of her parents Bernadette and Bob, who are out of town. They send their love. Drum major and piccolo player Lauren Mendoza is with her parents Rosetta and Roger. Baxter Maxey, equipment manager and mellophone player, is escorted by his parents Kim and Greg. Clarinetist Emily Montalvo is with her parents, Diana and Bill. Equipment manager and clarinet player Alyssa Piccirillo is accompanied by her parents, Andrea and Andy, and her brother Andrew. Tuba player Justin Tita is with his parents, Mary Jo and Nicole Stevens, a member of the Color Guard, is escorted by her mother Susan and her brother Nico. Alessio Trivellini, trumpet player, is with his parents, Kent, Julietta, and Dominic. Color Guard captain Susan Condon is being escorted by Pat and Tom Larson. to today's outfield sax player is Mr. Vladimir Rapp. This Ventura, the well-known player, is supported by his parents, Clarence and Jimmy. Zachary Wiley, a member of the pit, is with his parents, Helen and Rudy Hewitt. Thanks to all of you for the entertainment you have provided during the past 4 years. We love you. And now let's enjoy the band's 2010 award-winning gift show, Spanish Dancing.
No, not now.
and gentlemen, the Wayne Hills Patriot marching band. They continue to be lights out.
That was the Wayne Hills Marching Band under the direction of Matthew Paterno here at halftime, 50-0. Wayne Hills on top of Bergen Tech here at Patriot Stadium. I'm David Suntup. You might remember me, you might not remember me. I'm from the class of 2008. I called these games for 4 years. Wayne Hills won a state title each of those 4 seasons. During halftime, I used to talk to the man to my left, Rich Stambulian. Obviously, the broadcasters now still interview Rich, but going back in the day, about 3 years or so, Rich, Wayne Hills leading 50-0. What have you liked from the Patriots this evening?
Well, it really hasn't been much of a game so far. I think the second half is going to be kind of, as you say in basketball terms, garbage time. But, you know, Patriots have done pretty much whatever they wanted to so far. In the second half, probably going to see the clock run, and probably all the second stringers or third stringers even will be in.
Chris Olsen's squad up 50-0. Brian Dowling with 3 touchdowns in this ball game. What has he done not only tonight but this season that's made him such a great player?
Well, tonight, like most of the season, with maybe 2 exceptions, Brian, who's probably going to be a Division I player next year, I hear at UMass, he's really, for most of the season, been like a men playing among boys. And I mean, he's the real deal. He's got power, he's got speed, plays both ways. He's a good defensive back. So, again, he's kind of a dominating person this season.
You mentioned Brian Dowling as a possible Division I prospect, possibly UMass. Where else could you see him winding up, and what position do you think he would ultimately play?
Well, I think his father told me today UMass is looking really good. He hasn't committed yet, but that's high on the radar screen. I guess he could play defensive back, but I think they're probably looking at him as a running back.
Switching gears from the running back to the quarterback, you have a sophomore, Kevin Olsen, under center for Chris Olsen's squad, the third of Chris Olsen's sons to play for him. This is his first year as a starting quarterback, and he's looked like a polished player under center. He threw some long passes tonight, had a touchdown pass to Peter Davies late in the first quarter. What have you really liked from him?
I think he's kind of come along. This is only his 7th game in his varsity season. I mean, he played a little bit last year as a freshman, but very little bit. So he's grown, and he's only going to get better as the season goes along.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Dave Suntup out of retirement?
And now joined by John Goldstein here, one of the coaches of this, coaches of the Wayne Hills football team. And Goldie, what have you liked from your squad tonight so far?
Well, I mean, I seem to be doing pretty well, up 50-0 at the half. But yeah, what's not to like? We're running the ball well as always, throwing the ball well. What can you do?
Coach, thanks so much for the time. Go get back to your team, and best of luck in the second half. Thank you. Thank you. Now back to Rich Stambuli, and like we usually did during halftime back in the day. So Rich, Kevin Olson, sophomore quarterback, has really looked good in these 7 games. How much do you think it's helped him that as a young lad, he was always around this team on the sideline, cheering on the team in the locker room? What kind of effect has that had on him coming into this situation where he has a lot of pressure to not only lead this team back to the new Meadowlands Stadium, but ultimately come away as a North 1 Group 3 state champions?
Well, I think it's helped immeasurably, not only from being around, his father on the sideline as a ball boy, but also watching his brothers play. Greg will actually be back next week for the Ramapo game, and so he got to see Christian, as a quarterback. So he probably learned from both his father and his older brother.
Wayne Hills up 50-0 right now at halftime, well on its way to improving to 7-0. But next week, possibly the biggest challenge of the season, not including the playoffs. They go to Ramapo Stadium to take on Drew Gibbs and a Ramapo squad that's also undefeated right now, beat Wayne Hills in the sectional championship last season. What does Wayne Hills need to do to come out on top in that game?
Well, they're going to take it up a notch from tonight's competition, I should say, to next week. And they probably have a little bit of a score to settle because obviously last year, not only to get their winning streak broken earlier in the season, but at Giant Stadium they lost probably a disappointing outcome, I'm sure, that Coach Olson would say. They played well, but they didn't play well enough to win at Giant Stadium last year. And it was cold, it was blowing snow, it was a little slippery. Those aren't excuses, but when you look at next week, they got to be thinking about what happened last summer or last winter at Giant Stadium as probably a disappointment.
Rich, thanks so much for the time. Obviously, some big challenges ahead for the Patriots with Ramapo next week, St. Joe's in 2 weeks, and then the North 1 Group 3 playoffs. So it should be an exciting rest of the 2010 season.
Right. I mean, the prelims are over, as Coach Olson likes to say. Next week gets down to the meat and the potatoes of the season.
Thanks so much for joining us, Rich, and I'm sure that you'll talk to those guys as the season goes on. Have a great night.
Pleasure. Good to see you again.
That was the columnist for the Wayne today, Rich Stambuli, and now let's send it back up to the booth for the start of the second half. John Vittas, Joe Rapp, and Anthony Scudillo, take it away.
Sorry, Dave, it's not John, Anthony, and Joe this half. We're bringing in new announcers for this half. I'm Nick Appaluccio, here alongside Josh Mordkoff and Tom Patania. We're going to be calling the second half of action here. So, guys, what do you think from this first half of action? I mean, obviously it's 50-0. I'm not expecting to see one starter back in. What do you guys think about this?
Well, here, I mean, not to demean the other team, but this game is basically practice. I mean, Hills is scoring left and right. It's just like one of those other blowouts.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing Olson has done in the past that I've seen personally is that he always seems to bring in the starters at least for the kickoff. He doesn't seem to change the kickoff for the punt teams or any special teams. But besides that, I think you're going to see a lot of second starters.
Yeah, definitely. Even at the end of the first half, I saw sophomores in at least. I was down on the sidelines. We saw John Hom, we saw Nick Alizia, we saw Preston Quinn, and we saw Eric Moskal going in. Possibly they're going to get a lot of playing time next year, and maybe that's why Coach Olson wants to bring them in. But you know what? No one really knows.
And you know what I really like to see? I like to see how the Hills team on the sideline isn't really goofing off. They're showing a lot of respect to the other team. I mean, here you see some people throwing on the side, and they keep all their seriousness, and they just don't goof around.
Yeah, definitely. One thing from talking to these Wayne Hills players is that they don't screw around in practice. I mean, they have days of triples where I'm pretty sure they're not even allowed to laugh. That's how serious Coach Olson takes this program. So it's really nice to see that they have respect for the other team. They're still practicing before the game because they want to still play at their best, the best they can, pretty much.
Yeah, without a doubt there, Nick. They're never taking a break. I mean, you see them out there every day of the week. Rarely do they get a break. The week before a hard game, you see them in there on a Saturday. All summer long, they're in here day in, day out. Parisi on Wednesdays, constantly getting their agility skills up. They start early at the end of August with a week and a half full of triples, like you said, and they just never stop. They go straight through until whenever they're done, hopefully December this year.
Yeah, hopefully December. Last year, Wayne Hills took a big blow, losing in the state championship to Ramapo. Snowy night, no excuse, though. I mean, but this year, I really think we have a really good team to bring back to that state championship. We have juniors starting that are really good, definitely going to be starters next year. We have a very good line. We have the Evadicians on both sides. QB, that's really been the question this year, and Kevin Olson has stepped up and showed himself.
You know, I really agree, Nick. Wayne Hills is a force to be reckoned with here, and they are a very, very big candidate for the state championship. And I really think they have a great chance to do this.
So you see the Wayne Hills players going out to reflip the coin. I don't know if that's a ritual or something, but no, they're just going to be talking over what side and who's kicking off. So, first half highlights. Let's take a look at first half highlights. So we see Brian Dowling here. Nice play here. He's going to make a few defenders miss, and he's going all the way in this one. Brian's going to score this touchdown. Wayne Hills takes the lead, 14-0 with that one. As you see here, I believe that is Dowling again running up the left sideline. Nice block there by one of the Evadicians. He's going to score. And here we see a little bit of Kevin Olson throwing it deep right into the hands of Peter Davies, I believe, for the touchdown. You knew it was all over there. I mean, you see Kevin Olson again. Nice little play action fake. Hits it right to Peter Davies for another score for Wayne Hills. Olson again. The reverse to Brian Dowling, and Brian Dowling's going to run up that left sideline, untouched by defenders. That's where that 4-5 speed comes in handy. And then we see Dowling again, running up that right sideline, in for the easy score. Lead blocker, Shunky there. So here we are for the second half of kickoff. Bergen Tech's going to be kicking it off to Wayne Hills. Looks like we got Zafino and Monahan deep. So let's see. I mean, we know Dowling's usually a return man, so he's out. Massey's still in, I could see. We still have, I think that's Drees, number 27. So let's see how this goes. A little bit of squib kick caught quickly by number 5. I believe that's Eugene Lowe, and he's gonna go down around the 40 for forward progress.
Actually, Nick, I'm quite surprised. 27 is actually Justin Beveridge. Surprised to see him out there.
That's right. Mike Drees, number 28. Yeah, Justin Beveridge, we've said it before in broadcast. He runs harder than anyone I know. I know him personally, and he's just a crazy kid. He just runs as hard as he can. He's not afraid to get tackled or anything.
Now, Justin Beveridge is that kid that they're going to put out there third quarter, fourth quarter. They know that he's not going to stop. Just as Nick said, he's one of the most determined kids out there. He knows what he's got to do. He's going to run the ball. He's going to go for everything.
So we got Monahan at quarterback, Beveridge at running back, and we'll get the fullback in a minute, but handoff's going to get them right back to the line of scrimmage for no gain. Number 8 at fullback, we don't have a stat sheet. Christian Graff, there it is. Christian Graff, number 8, takes the handoff at fullback. Now, I never knew Christian as a running back fullback. I always thought he would be the sort of tight end type, but I guess since you got Matt Greenfield there, who's already a varsity starter on defense now because of Casey's injury, you got to move Christian somewhere for next year, and I guess fullback is where they found a spot for him.
I think originally, for his freshman year, Christian Graff might have actually played quarterback.
I think he did actually, yeah. Christian played quarterback freshman year, but you knew with Kevin Olson coming in how good he was that there really wasn't going to be a lot of room for quarterbacks in this program. Toss to Justin Beveridge, runs up the right sideline, and he'll get the first down on that one. That explosive speed through the middle is where Justin Beveridge is best. You just see him explode through the hole right when he sees it. He doesn't even need that big of a hole. He just runs right through it and gains 10 yards.
This is what they practice every day. You got to keep the legs moving, just what he did right there. He got hit early on, but he kept his legs moving, and he pushed an extra 3-4 yards. That's a great run right there.
So we see Monahan taking the play from Olson. He's going to jog into his huddle. Yeah, so other than the kickoff, no varsity starters that I can see are on the line or the offense for Wayne Hills.
We do have a few seniors still left in there, though. I mean, left tackle we haven't really seen. Matt Benzenhofer's out there.
Yeah, definitely like to see Olson getting the seniors that don't start some playing time. Justin Beveridge explodes to the middle. That looks like a game of 5, so that'll be about 2nd and 5. Now Wayne Hills, really their running game has been their strong thing for years on top of years, but when Brian leaves, I don't know how deep they are at running back. I know that Justin Beveridge is definitely a great running back, but they're going to want to look to Kevin Olson to throw the ball in the air. I mean, that's why they breeded him so young as a quarterback. So we're going to see in the upcoming years how Kevin does and what receivers he has to throw to.
That just goes to show that next year, Justin Beveridge or somebody who's playing running back is going to have to step it up because the running game is huge, as you can see at the high school level.
Yeah, we got Justin Beveridge and we have Dom Santoro of what I know that are junior running backs right now. Bev takes the handoff to the right side. He's going to make one defender miss. Looks like maybe a gain of 2. Maybe a fumble on the ground.
Yeah, it looked like the ball was loose there.
Recovered by Wayne Hills, going back the same way, 3rd down.
Yeah, Wayne Hill's going to keep the ball on that one. So we're looking at about 3rd and 6, so the scoreboard says. So Andrew Monahan going to go get the play, and he's going to bring it into the huddle. What do you think they're going to be doing here, Josh? I'm thinking play action pass, maybe.
Yeah, it sounds like something like that. They're just going to want to keep the ball moving, get that first down. They're not going to play around. Oh, well, guess not.
Justin Beveridge with a gain on about 2 on that one, so they're out of field goal range, and it's going to have to be a high, short punt for that, and I think punt team's coming out.
Yeah, and as I said before, you can see mostly starters coming out there. In fact, I believe every starter. Shunky's coming out the snap and Dowling back in again to punt.
Yeah, the special teams looks like they're bringing all their starters out. They don't want any mishaps on special teams because those are really the ones that change momentum. Not that we're going to see a comeback in this game, though, but just for reference, I guess.
I think just getting them reps just to make sure Brian Dowling doesn't get cold and, added play.
Yeah, because if Brian gets cold and then he goes back into the game, who knows if he could pull something or anything. Not to jinx anything, but I don't think we'll see him back in this game at running back. It's 50-0. High pump for Brian. This one's going to touch down about the 20. That one's going to stop right on the 19-yard line. So we're going to have 1st and 10 from the 19 for Bergen Tech. We'll see what defense is coming out now. And again, it looks like not one starter is coming out. Names that I can notice out there, we have 27, Justin Beveridge, number 25, Mike Garino, number 56, John Hahn, number 1, Andrew Monahan's out there. I'm sure he's playing cornerback.
Actually, it looks like you got Phil DiMichele out there at right tackle.
Yeah, right.
Surprised to see him there.
We got a defensive end. We have Phil DiMichele, so that's good to see. Excuse me, that's good to see the seniors getting playing time again. We got Mike Garino at safety. I think that might be Ricky Klee at linebacker. I'm not sure, though. Run up the middle. He's going to make one defender miss and gain a 2 maybe there, so 2nd down.
You know, again, about all these underclassmen out there playing right now, I really love seeing these blowout games and putting them out in the 3rd and 4th quarter because it gives you a glimpse of what the future is going to be like. And I guess it's just exactly what Austin's thinking. What's he going to do for next year and the year after?
Yeah, for me and Josh, it's good for us because we get to see the people that we will possibly announce next year. Tom, you're a senior, so sorry you won't be able to do that. But
that's unfortunate.
Yeah, me and Josh kind of get used to seeing the numbers, putting the names to the numbers. So we're going to have 2nd and 6. Bergen Tech and shotgun. They're going to run it right out of the shotgun. Looks like he fumbles around on the ground. Looks like a gain about 3, so we're going to have 3rd down now.
The morale of this team is just, it's like the bottom of the seat, and they have no hope right now.
It's just shot to say the least. I mean, they're still putting a little bit of heart into it, but it seems like they're just ready to pack up and go home. It's too cold out here. It's getting late in the season. I just want to pack it in and get ready for next season.
Yeah, Bergen Tech being 0-6. I can't really see where their season's been going this year. As we see a run up the middle, that's going to be a 1st down, maybe one of the first of the game.
I believe it's the 2nd.
2nd? Yeah. Not really much offensive production from Bergen Tech this game. See Christian Graff coming out. We got number 21. Don't know who that is coming in, though.
I mean, I understand that Bergen Tech is losing and that they want to get out of here. They know this is a blowout. But why not get some reps in? This is great practice against a great team. I mean, there's nothing better to do right now.
I don't think Bergen Tech puts their money in their football program, so I think the reps would just be pointless. I mean, I highly doubt that they practice half as hard as Hills does, because I know they practice harder than anyone in maybe even the state of New Jersey, if that's stretching it a little bit. But Mike Garino on the tackle with that one. So we're going to have 2nd down.
Is that Ricky Klee? Are we seeing a senior still in the game?
Yeah, Ricky Klee was playing linebacker. Played linebacker the first defensive series of this half, actually. So, yeah, it's good to see him getting out there. Because you go through all these practices and stuff, and to not even get a lot of playing time in games, it's unfortunate. But, I mean, sometimes Wayne Hills just breeds so many good football players that it's hard to put you in.
That just comes along with football. You know, you practice 100 hours a week, maybe. Not that many, but
I highly doubt that.
To play this 1 hour long game, and you're not always going to see the field.
So we're going to be looking at a third down, possibly a loss of about 2, that looked like. We'll get the official on that in a minute, but third down nonetheless.
I mean, a big surprise we really haven't seen tonight, guys, is the pass from the Bergen Tech. It seems like they're doing a lot of running tonight. I mean, we did have that one interception in the first quarter, and I mean, they threw it a little bit in the second, but not too many completions, not too much of throwing the ball.
I think that interception was pretty much the end of Bergen Tech's passing game. I believe that was the first play of the game, and for that to happen, return for a touchdown, I mean, that's just demeaning to a team.
I mean, I don't know anything about Bergen Tech's quarterback or his background as a player, but maybe he's not too confident about his arm.
Well, he's in the shotgun right now, and he's dropping back the pass. Nice little screen pass to number 4. He's going to get the first down on that one.
That was impressive.
So Bergen Tech moving the chains 2 times in a row.
Just goes to show that you never can tell what they're going to do.
Christian Graff coming back out, we see. So we're going to have 1st and 10 for Bergen Tech. Now, looking forward, Wayne Hills has Ramapo next week, and then St. Joe's the week after that. Both away, both huge games, although the St. Joe's game doesn't matter towards their their playoff contention. What do you think Wayne Hills is going to be? Because I remember last year, before one of their big games, I think it might have been Joe's. But before last year, before that game, they had pretty much a warm-up game where it was like 60-0, and I think it really hurt them. It was either before Joe's or Valley, I can't remember. But do you think this game's going to hurt or help Wayne Hills for next week?
I think they should look back on last year and see exactly what had happened to them then before they lost to St. Joe's. They're really going to have to turn the intensity up this week during practice. That's really the most and the best thing they can do, because next week they got a real challenge against Ramapo.
And a big surprise this year is St. Joe's actually beat Hills last year when we beat Ramapo. But this year coming up, Ramapo actually beat St. Joe's in one of the games this season. And it's going to be a real surprise to see how good they actually are.
Yeah, and I think Teaneck either came close to beating Ramapo or St. Joe's. I think it was St. Joe's, but I'm not entirely sure on that. So we're going to have 2nd and 6 right now for Bergen Tech. Quarterback in the shotgun. He's going to take it and run through the left side. That's going to be a gain of about 2 maybe. So we're going to be looking at 3rd down right now. So right now, 3rd and 3 for Bergen Tech. And as we said before, we'll say it again, not one starter left in the game. So you really could see that Wayne Hills cares about more the respect. They don't want to blow them out that bad. I mean, 50-0 is pretty bad, but it was through the first half.
Well, it's not just about that. It's also about these kids who are practicing for so long. And, you know, when they're seeing their team, like, they don't need these starters out right now. They want to give them some rest, especially for this game coming up next week.
A reverse. I even got fooled on that one, and Bergen Tech quarterback's going to take it out. It looks like he'll be a little bit short.
I think another thing Olsen has this year is a lot of respect for his seniors. I mean, you can certainly see on senior night he's giving a lot of the backups the certain time they get. I mean, they work their butts off in practice, playing on defense, helping out the starters get ready for the games every week, day in and day out, and he's definitely giving them what their due is this week.
Yeah, as we have 10 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. I mean, I know for colleges they have like homecoming night and stuff, and then for senior night you kind of want to blow out. You want to really get all the seniors in that have been playing. You don't want to be in a close game on senior night. I know that much.
Yeah, I know what you mean. This is pretty special for our school. I guess they kind of have to prove something.
I don't think this game is so much a proof as the next 2 weeks are going to be, though. I mean, that next 2 weeks are probably the biggest thing of all the season, even playoffs. I mean, just to beat St. Joe's after they came back and wrecked our winning streak last year is going to be a huge thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even to get vengeance on Ramapo for that state title loss. as Bergen Tech's going to be a little bit short. As we see the third quarter winding down to 0. So at the end of your third quarter, no score for either team. We're going to have same score as the end of the first half. Wayne Hills 50, Bergen Tech nothing. So what do you see from this second Wayne Hills team, I guess we're going to call it?
I mean, it's great to see them out here. I mean, like I said, they work day in and day out, and they're certainly showing that they do get their reps. I mean, we have a great first team, so to have the second team come in that plays against that first team day in and day out, they certainly have the skills to get in and take over the players that are playing first. I mean, yeah, they may not be the starters, but they definitely have the skill set they need playing for this Wayne Hills team.
Yeah, I agree. It's great to see these guys get in. And like I said before, it really gives them a look at what's coming in the future years.
So that's going to do it for Josh. Josh, it was fun having you up here in the booth, but now we're going to have
it was a pleasure.
We're going to have sophomore Paul Gabinelli replacing Josh for this fourth quarter of action as we see Wayne Hills winning 50-0 over Bergen Tech. How you doing tonight, Paul?
I am feeling great, Nick. It's great to be here at Wayne Hills Stadium. I'm feeling elated right now. That's how I'm feeling.
And that's also going to do it looks like, for Tom Patania, as we see Christian Cubis coming up, giving him the little hand motion to get out of here. So, Tom, it was a pleasure having you for this night.
Yes, thank you, Nick. I'm about to get kicked out of here, so enjoy the rest of the game, guys.
You too.
Yeah.
So, we got a big play there. I don't know what happened. I was saying goodbye to a good friend, Tom.
Yep, and you're also introducing me.
Yeah, so how you doing tonight, Christian?
I'm doing great. Shivering like crazy.
Should have dressed warmer for this, Christian. I mean, we have someone down in our broadcast booth with shorts and a T-shirt. I don't know how he's surviving. I'm freezing, and I have layers on top of layers on.
Poor kid's been like that since the minute he walked out of school. Stayed after to set up and all.
I mean, it's got to be his fault a little bit for not bringing a jacket or anything. But
oh, definitely.
Yeah. So we see Bergen Tech at about the 45 of Wayne Hills. A little quick pass.
Pass and drop.
Yikes.
So we're going to have 2nd and 10 for Bergen Tech as that pass was incomplete. It looks like, I don't know if I saw that correctly, but it looks like number 70. Never mind, that's not 70. I thought we saw a starter coming back in, but I guess it was just a mirage.
Oh, Nick.
Here we go, Nick.
So we've got 2nd and 10. Score winding down in the fourth quarter. Now, something that's good about high school, if you have a certain amount of lead, there's no clock stoppage. As you see, Bergen Tech squeezing through the hole, getting about 5 yards on that one. But yeah, in high school, it's a continuous clock as long as you're leading by a certain amount of points. So we're not going to see any stoppage during this game. So that should make this fourth quarter go quick. And maybe that's why Wayne Hills wasn't given enough time to score in the third quarter, because of the continuous clock.
Well, as long as they maintain this lead for a couple more minutes, I think that they definitely will be able to defeat Bergen.
I've seen crazier things happen, Paul.
I don't think it's going to be crazier than getting 50 points over 10 minutes. I'm sorry.
I've done it in Madden, Christian.
Well, that's a game.
So Bergen Tech in the shotgun on 3rd and 5. Handoff to number 4. He's going to be stopped short of the first down. So we're most likely going to see a Bergen Tech punt here. So we're going to see the Wayne Hills offense try to do something. So we're going to see maybe it seems like Bergen Tech is actually going for it. So we're going to see Wayne Hill's second team stay out there instead of the special teams coming out.
You know, Nick, that really shows, for Bergen Tech's attitude, They're down by so many points. The continuous clock's running. Now they're going for it. It just seems like they got, a lot of heart in the game,
Well, just looking at it, I don't think they really have heart, because all I can see is that they're just mostly doing running plays.
Yeah, I think the whole fourth down thing is kind of like...
Especially when they're mostly running with the quarterback. Yeah, they know that they lost this game.
Yeah, I don't think it's more of like a have heart thing. I think it's... Really, Wayne Hill's calling for the penalty there. Can't get it. Number 12 is going to take it up the middle, but... excuse me, he's quickly met by 5 Wayne Hills defenders. Back to what I was saying, though, Paul. I don't really think it's a hard thing. I can't really explain it, how it is, but it's more like just accepting defeat and being like, here, take the ball, score again. So we're going to have 1st and 10 for Wayne Hills. We'll see if we see any new numbers coming out. We got Eric Moskal, number 22, coming out. I think that's number 54, Doug Wardle, was about to come out, but he wasn't coming out.
Guess not.
So we have Mike Garino out there, Eric Moskal, Andrew Monahan's at quarterback. I believe Justin Beveridge is in at running back. And that's all I can see from here right now. We got Christian Graff in there at fullback. And the offensive line, not one starter playing. Monahan, play action. He's going to run it to the left side. Won't get back to the line, so that's going to be a loss of 1, and we're going to have 2nd down.
It's actually pretty nice to see all the younger players get a chance to, show their stuff in this game, even though it is at the end and we have a pretty substantial lead. It's nice to see how they play, and how they will be playing in future games.
Yeah, definitely the whole senior night thing is nice, seeing all the seniors that really haven't gotten a chance to play. But it's really also nice to see who we're basically going to be seeing next year, starting right now. This is basically the Wayne Hills JV team with a few sophomores mixed in, going up against a Bergen Tech varsity team, and they seem to be competing quite well. Monahan looking for the deep ball. He's got Preston Quinn wide open, and he holds on to the catch. Preston Quinn with the nice catch there by Andrew Monahan. They're fighting on the ground for the fumble, but he was clearly down. We're going to be looking at a gain of about 40 on that play, so we're going to have 1st and 10 inside Bergen Tech territory.
Yeah, I would say that was a beautiful pass.
Yeah, that's a very nice pass from Andrew. Definitely nice to see him doing well at quarterback. Even though he won't be playing next year, we're most likely going to be seeing Kevin Olsen, and it's nice to see the versatility that Andrew has. So Wayne Hills running up to that line. We're going to have 1st and 10 on the 17. I think we got...
I would say about a yard, Nick.
Yeah, it looks like a yard, Nick.
Yeah, Monahan's out, it looks like, and we got number 13, I think that's Micah Bate in at quarterback. So we're seeing even more sophomores coming in as they get closer down. You got Christian Rodriguez, number 21's a sophomore. 22, Eric Moskal. 12, Preston Quinn. Number 13, I think, is number Micah Bate. Out on the line, I think that we have John Hahn, number 56 in.
Really, it is nice to see all the young players coming out. I mean, I have classes with these guys, and they've been talking about the game all day. They've been getting all riled up. Yeah, I think we're going to see some pretty good plays coming up, Nick.
Yeah, they knew that they were going to get their chance to play tonight, and that's exactly what they have. 2 wide receivers to the right. A Bate with the handoff right up the middle. Christian Rodriguez untouched for the score. Touchdown, Wayne Hills. That's going to put this game at 57-0.
That was an excellent run right there. Found the hole. Touchdown.
Yeah, untouched through the hole is Christian Rodriguez. He plays baseball. I know he's got untouchable speed. Maybe he's going to be formed into 2 years from now when I'm gone. Maybe he'll be formed into the new running back for Wayne Hills. We're going to see Anthony Jordan coming in to take the kicks. He hasn't really gotten a chance this whole season. There was some rumors that he was going to go in towards the end of the Valley game or the middle of the Valley game because Mike Drees, it seemed like, wasn't getting the job done, or he was just getting the job done barely. But we see him tonight on senior night kicking. Eugene Lowe's got the hold. Jordan splitting the uprights, and that one will be good to bring this game to 57-0. So, really not much to say about this game. 57-0. It's been a blowout the whole time. We both know that, or all three of us know that. But Wayne Hills does have their 2 biggest games of the season next week and the week after. We talked about this previously with Tom and Josh, but do you think that getting a blowout like this before possibly their biggest game of the season is a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, I see it as a good thing. I mean, just thinking about how far ahead of this team they are, I mean, Hills is definitely getting a great morale boost. I mean, knowing that they can beat this team by so much, to nothing, it's really going to give them a lot of, energy and a lot of, a good attitude towards, their upcoming games. I say it's a good thing, Nick.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to go on the other end, but actually, no, I'm not, because I know how hard Wayne Hills practices, so I know it's not really going to make a difference. Jordan's going to be taking the kick, and looks like not many starters out there for the kicking team. Good kick by Jordan, getting them back to the 5.
Oh.
A little bit of a fumble by number 23 for Bergen Tech, and he's quickly met by Wayne Hill's defenders, not even making it to the 20.
Yeah, that wasn't the first time that Bergen has dropped the ball on a kickoff this game.
Yeah, it seems like every time they're dropping the ball.
To tell you the truth, I didn't even think that the other team will be able to make a touchdown. It would be very surprising if they did, because just looking at the Wayne Hills Patriots defense, they're not going to get through maybe a couple of first downs, but I don't think they're going to get through all the way to touchdown.
Yeah, neither do I. I mean, 57-0 so far, and they really haven't gotten even, I don't even think, in the red zone. So we'll see what happens, though. As Wayne Hills does not have a starter left in the game, we'll mention it again. Seems like actually the sophomore team is in for Wayne Hills. So a lot of kids you might know, Paul. A lot of kids in your grade are in.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of familiar faces out there. Well, maybe not faces, but...
yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, I don't think you can see the faces.
Bergen Tech won't make it back to the line, it looks like. So we're going to have second and more than 10.
More than 10, yeah.
Another thing about Wayne Hills is that towards the end of these blowout games, I know they bring a lot of the marching band seniors out to dance with the cheerleaders and stuff, but every fourth quarter they also bring out the JV and freshman cheerleading team to cheerlead at these varsity games. So that's definitely good to get them practice for next year or the year after, whenever they're going to be cheerleading varsity football.
Oh yeah, I hear you, Nick. It feels good to know that like the younger generation is getting good practice, so that way when they get older, or maybe next year, that they'll be just as good, if not better, than this year.
Yeah, it's nice to see them getting the whole feel of a Wayne Hills varsity game, as without them coming in, it would just be the juniors and seniors that are on varsity.
Yeah, it definitely feels good to be in cheerleading in the varsity league.
How would you know, Cubis? Did you cheerlead back in the day?
Oh, to tell you the truth, I have cheerleaded by many teams.
Okay, I'm not going to judge you.
Neither am I. Okay, maybe a little bit.
You know, I was being totally sarcastic on that notation, right?
You can say whatever you want now, but we all know what we heard, and so does the tape. So we're going to have 3rd and 4 for Bergen Tech, backed up into their own 20. We're going to see if maybe they can make their about 5th first down of the game. Bergen Tech in the shotgun, wide receiver in motion, 2 to the left, and a running back. Nice pass over the middle.
Oof.
Quickly met by number 22, Eric Moskal, is Bergen Tech wide receiver number 10.
To tell you the truth, I'm very surprised that the sophomore defense is like really holding up the varsity team on the other team.
Yeah, I know this. I know the sophomores. I know that they're good, like a very athletic group of kids too. I mean, Eric Moskal, he used to be in my grade, but he ended up staying back a year, and now he's with them. I know he's a very athletic kid. We're going to have the punt return team in, so Andrew Monahan's going to be back deep taking the punts. So we're going to see what's happening. We haven't really seen a good punt from Bergen Tech yet. And we will continue not to see as Andrew Monahan calls for the fair catch and corrals that one in.
You know, Nick, I don't know if you've overheard, but up in the booth behind us, a couple of the cameramen have been throwing around that this game is no more than like a simple skirmish. I mean, just looking at the scores all the way through.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Wayne Hills is just... They're basically taking it to this Bergen Tech team. I know before this game, Bergen Tech had scored 20, while their opponents had scored 220, to look at it at like a whole spectrum. And they were 0-6, Wayne Hills 6-0, and Wayne Hills beat Teaneck, I think it was like 50-something to nothing, or 50-something to 7. And Bergen Tech lost to Teaneck 50-something to nothing, some sort of huge blowout. So you see what's happened here is it's 57 to nothing. As Wayne Hills going to go into that victory formation, taking the knees. They're going to need to put one more of those down to clinch this game for them. As time runs down, we have 1:05 left in this game.
I've always been curious at moments like this. What's going through the Wayne Hills players' minds? Is it like, okay, can we just finish the game now? Or is it like, maybe we should finish strong? What do you guys think?
I think it's more of a respect thing. I think it's more of a respect thing, Paul, to be honest. Like, you don't want to score another touchdown here. It's 57-0. You've proven that you've won this game. I know against Wayne Valley, there was actually some controversy during the kneeing of the balls, because I think it was Vinny Greco for Wayne Valley would like charge through the line, and he would try to tackle the quarterback, which you're not allowed to do on a knee in high school at least. So you see this Bergen Tech is definitely taking it very nicely, though. They know they lost the game, and they're not angry about it, it seems like.
I get you, Nick. I understand.
Time winding down. We're just about under 15 seconds left in this game. Bergen Tech coach is out there. That looks like it's going to clinch up this game. So Wayne Hills with a very convincing win, 57-0 over Bergen Tech. Paul, what were your thoughts on this game?
From the beginning, I just knew that Hills was going to win, and I'm glad that they did. It's just another thing when they can put under the belt, and it's just showing everybody, we're staying strong. We're not gonna have a repeat of last year.
I would agree to that notation too, Paul. But just saying, just looking at the ratio of Bergen Tech, it's obviously a win right there. It's absolutely no brainer right there, and so I don't think it's gonna be a really big victory if they beat Bergen Tech.
Yeah, definitely. It was a convincing win nonetheless, 57-0. But Bergen Tech definitely held up their own in the second half, 7-0, even though they were only going up against a lot of Wayne Hills sophomores, not very many starters. So 57-0 was the final in this game. Brian Dowling putting in 3 touchdowns this game. So that'll do it for us from Patriot Stadium. And we're probably going to see you next week at Ramapo, where Wayne Hills Patriots take on the Ramapo, I don't know their mascot, but Wayne Hills is going to take on Ramapo next week. We'll see you there. The Ramapo Green Raiders, as I just heard from the trailer. So I'm Nick Apluccio here alongside Paul. Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Christian. Thanks to our whole broadcast team, and a special thanks to Mr. Hoogstrape, who put this all together every week. So we'll see you guys next week.
See you guys next week.
See you guys.